What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of HRTea. I hope your week was swell. This week's guest is Vic. Vic and I had a dope-ass conversation about his coming out story. It was very inspiring, very moving stuff. We talked about abusive parents. We talked about coming out to parents that are really unsupportive. Vic also gave us some advice. We also talked about religion, how the trauma from unsupportive parents can affect your relationships later in life. And, these are the reasons on why being good to your children is like important, and like supporting your children is like important. But yeah, it was a great episode. Definitely go follow Vic. His handles will be in the description below and on screen. So make sure you do that. And make sure you follow me at HRT Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Join my Discord, please. We have a lot of trans people in there hanging out, supporting each other, having a grand old time. If you're not in there, you're missing out. And you are also missing out if you are not subscribed to my Patreon. I'm losing my voice right now. I have a lot of bonus content on there, and I would really appreciate it. Also, please go follow me on Twitch. I've decided that I'm only going to live stream and game on Twitch from now on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go follow us on Twitch. We would appreciate it. Turn on my post notifications because I post every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go check out After Dark if you haven't already. I love you guys so much. Let's go talk to Vic. Bye. Coolio, I'm going to start by asking you, where are you from?
So I'm from Fall River, Massachusetts.
Ooh, okay. Not too far from me. I'm in New York.
Nice.
Just a couple hours away. Now, how does Massachusetts treat you as a trans man?
So honestly, like I have no complaints at all. It's very accepting out here. I love it out here. It honestly just depends like really whereabouts you live, because I lived in a small farm town for about like 15 years and people were pretty judgmental out there. I really enjoy where I'm from now because it's like the city part and people are way more accepting and loving and way more like, woke with like community. I feel like I can actually like be myself out in Fall River versus, being in a small town.
Word. I love that. I wish that like the farm-esque farm living could be more like woke and not so fucking
Not for real,
judgmental,
because like the vibes are just so great and like it's so peaceful and shit, and then you just have like the people and it's like you're not fitting in with the vibe.
Right. No, like if the southern vibe wasn't so like transphobic and homophobic, oh my god, I'd be a cowboy.
Oh
like
yeah, for sure. No,
I'd live on a farm in a second. Are you kidding?
For real.
How old are you, Vic?
I'm 23 years old. I just turned 23.
23?
Yep.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Slay. Wait, when's your birthday?
January 11th, 2001.
Wow, okay, King. Look at you.
So it's cool because my birthday is like all ones, 1/11/01. So like that's my own personality trait. I'm like, yeah, it's all one.
No, that's pretty dope. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Honestly, you look like you could be like 26, 27. I thought you were older than me.
I get that like all the time, but like it's either I look like I'm 18 or I look like I'm 30. Like I've gotten both answers. And I don't know if it's because of like facial piercings that make me look younger, because like before I transitioned, everyone thought I was like 25, 26 when I was like 18. And now it's like the complete opposite. Like everyone thinks I'm younger or like way older. I'm like, no, I'm only 23. I'm a baby.
Maybe it's the piercings. They do make you look a little bit older than me. I don't know. They look dope though.
Thank you.
Are you on hormones, my friend?
Yes. I'm on testosterone.
Nice. Love that. How long have you been on testosterone?
So I've been on testosterone for about a year and a half. I started on December, I'm trying to think of the exact date, 21st, 2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. I would assume you would have been on testosterone longer. Good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Now,
that, man.
yeah, for sure. Do you do injections?
I do. Yep. I do subcutaneous in the belly. I don't know why I pointed. Like,
Ooh, in the tummy, in the
in the belly.
belly. Do you like doing it in the belly or no?
I mean, I don't know. I just can't think of doing it like anywhere else. Like I've heard trans guys saying that they do it in their butt, and like honestly, that makes me so nervous because I feel like I would accidentally like stick the needle like up my butt, like. Like I would be so scared because you can't really see what you're doing. So I don't know if you look in the
You
mirror
know,
and you kind of just try to like aim. Like I guess it.
I don't
I
get
don't
it.
like. I feel like it might feel a little bit better because it's supposed to be like more fat back there, but I'm just used to doing it in my
Something
stomach,
to
so
grab onto.
I don't want to do it anywhere else.
I can't make that swivel though. Like I've tried. I can't turn that way.
Me
I
neither.
legitimately do not get it. I don't get
You
it.
get
I
it
don't know how these men are out here.
for
I
real.
don't know how these men are out here doing that.
No, like honestly, like kudos to them. Like you're talented. Like I can't. No, I would be
Could
so
be me.
scared.
Could not be me. Have you ever thought of gel or
Um,
anything like that?
I have like maybe in the future if my shot anxiety got really bad. But right
Mhm,
now, like I have a little bit of shot anxiety, but it's really like I can push through it. So
mhm.
it's like if it ever got to the point where I just can't tolerate, stabbing myself every week anymore, I would probably consider gel. But for now, I'm
Neat.
pretty content with the injections.
Good. I'm glad. I hope I hope it stays that way for you because I'm 7 years now and I'm like
Hmm.
I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And I am trying. I'm trying my hardest to get on gel, but fucking I think folks is like giving me a hard time with my insurance or some shit. I don't fucking know, but I haven't taken my shot in like 2 weeks and I'm like ready to kill somebody because I can't.
That happened to me a month ago, and I wasn't able to get my testosterone for like 3 weeks. I was pissed. I was so pissed.
Hmm.
I was like, I want to show
Hmm.
up and get my testosterone, like one way or another. I was so mad. Because I had to change the testosterone because I was having like an allergic reaction,
Oh
to
shit.
lipinate. Um, but it wasn't like that crazy. Like I was just having some itchiness, so I showed that to my doctor, and she's like, "Well, we can prescribe you, a different kind of testosterone with a different kind of like oil in it." And I was like, "Well, does it do the same?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Word,
Mm.
let me just switch it over." Um, but my pharmacy didn't carry that kind of testosterone. So I'm just like
Mm.
waiting and waiting, and then I keep getting text messages saying like, "Oh, it's ready." So I'd show up, and then they're like, "Oh, we don't have your testosterone." I was like, "Okay."
Yep. That's
So
what they keep fucking doing to me too.
yeah,
I keep getting texts from my pharmacy like it's ready, and then folks is like, actually, it's not. Don't listen to them, and I'm like,
bro, that's so annoying. Like they
I
need to get their
know
shit together.
it's really frustrating. Yep, and like I have testosterone, I have the
Hmm.
injections. I just don't want to fucking do it. I'm like to a point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just wait until I get my gel
Yeah,
because I'm
right.
over it. I can't anymore.
Were you doing like weekly?
Yeah, I got switched to weekly. I used to
Yeah.
do bi-weekly,
Same, bro. Yeah,
but
I was doing it
yeah.
bi-weekly for a year, and then I recently just switched over because I was doing 0.6 like every 2 weeks, and the doctor was
Mm,
like, "Well, maybe that's why you're having the itchiness because it's like a you know, big
mhm,
thing of medicine going into your stomach, so you're probably
right.
like having that allergic reaction. Whereas if you're doing 0.3 every week, it might be like a little bit better."
Yeah. I've heard of a lot of people are allergic to the testosterone cypionate. I've heard
Oh,
quite
for
a few
real.
people say they're allergic. Yeah.
I haven't heard many people talking about it, so that's like interesting to hear.
It's weird that there's is there two different types of testosterone?
I
Or are
think
there like a
so.
couple?
Yeah, I haven't heard of any others, so maybe there is
It's
more.
so
But
weird.
I know,
It's it's like what type of testosterone runs through cis men? Like
right? Like I want that kind. Well, maybe not.
right.
I don't know.
Well, hang on actually.
Hang on.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Talk to me about surgeries. Have you gotten any? Do you want any?
Yeah, so I actually it was just my 1 year post op on May 2nd. So
Okay,
very
slay.
grateful for that.
Congratulations.
Um,
Period.
like honestly, top surgery saved my entire life. Let me just tell you that. So very grateful.
Nice. Have you given any thought to any other surgeries in the future?
Yeah, so I do eventually want to get bottom surgery. I just don't think I'm in the right place right now, both like financially and mentally. I definitely need to just do more research on it because I have heard some horror stories on how people haven't been able to pee after bottom surgery. And I'm like, ah.
I enjoy peeing actually.
Yeah,
So
like I really like to pee, and I'd like to keep that. Like I'd like to be able to like sit on the toilet, and even
Mhm.
if like I had bottom surgery one day and I wasn't able to like pee standing up, like I'd be completely content with that because I'm lazy. I like to
Yeah.
sit, and I've been so used to sitting, So like yeah, but
Yeah. No, I
it
feel
would
that.
be cool to be able to stand up and pee. But
It would be. I feel like think for a while I very much like wanted to
mm,
like stand to pee, and it was
mhm.
something that I really wanted. And then I think I used a packer a couple times. I was like, you know what, this is too hard, guys. I'm good. I'm good with sitting for real.
Yeah, because like, don't you have to like rinse it out, and then it's kind of just awkward, like especially if you're in a
Yeah.
public like bathroom, and then you're just like, oh, hang on, I just gotta wash my dick.
Yeah, no, like it kind of takes away the euphoria when you have to take it off of your body and wash it and then put it
Like my
back
dick fell off.
on. Oh, that's
Uh,
funny as hell. Fuck. Okay. Now, when did you come out as trans?
so I came out on my 22nd birthday. So that was January
Okay, so
11th, 2023. So about
mm.
a year and a half ago. I have no concept of time whatsoever, but
That's okay. Neither do I. It's okay. Now, who did you come out to? Did you come out to like everybody, like on like social media or like your family?
So publicly, I came out on my 22nd birthday. But to rewind from that time, I was slowly coming out in October of 2022, just to like the closest people in my life. So that included a couple of my cousins, um, a couple of my best friends, my bosses. So I was like, oh, they're gonna find out eventually. So let me go ahead and tell them. Um,
Right.
so it was very overwhelming at first. I was terrified to come out to anybody, and I'm very grateful for the people that I do have closest in my life because I was just filled with such love, and I know that's not the case for a lot of people. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, it was definitely an amazing feeling just being flooded with like
Mm.
love from my best friends, my cousins, just
Mhm.
like so much love.
I love that. No, that's super important.
Yeah,
Now, were you dating anybody at the time? Can I ask?
not at the time. No, I was.
Okay. Okay. So you came out to your friends, and then after, did you come out to your family?
So, I don't really have a relationship with either of my parents. So I had completely went no contact with my dad back in May of 2022. So I never formally had to have that conversation with him. And then with my mom, she's like kind of like in my life, but not really. It's very complicated. Um, my dad was extremely abusive to me my entire life, so that's why I decided to like cut ties. And my mom still has a relationship with him, so it's a little,
Mm,
complicated. But ever
mhm.
since then, she's just like referred to me as her daughter. Um, it's not a very loving feeling, and she still refers to me as like my old childhood name. So
Mm.
it's tough, but yeah, I keep them at a distance because they've just caused a lot of trauma in my life.
Yeah, I mean, as you should. She still, when you do talk to her, she still refers to you as her daughter and your old name. Like, still,
Yes. Hmm.
even when you look like this.
Yeah. That's like, bro, I literally got like a fucking beard like growing in. Like,
Yeah,
who are you talking
that's
to?
yeah, because it ain't me.
No,
The
it ain't me.
fuck?
Like, yeah.
Do you do you ever see her in person? Like, does she get to see you the way you look now?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because I just ran into her last week with one of my coworkers, and it was like the strangest thing because like we made direct eye contact. We were at Walmart and we were like in the self checkout line, and I was just like, "Hi, mom," and it was just very weird. And then she just kind of like stared me up and down, and then like finally said hi, and it was just so excruciatingly like
Mhm,
painful. I was like, I wish this didn't
mhm.
happen. Like I'm going home. Um, yeah, she just looked
Oh,
like horrified, and it was really strange because we had seen each other like not that long before that, and she was talking to me like normal, and she's like, oh yeah, we should like go out for breakfast soon. We haven't seen each other in a while. This and that. So yeah, it's kind of painful when you have like a wishy washy like relationship like that.
mhm. Yeah, and that hurts to not be able to, like, see your mom in public and have it not be weird. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's your mom. Like, what the fuck?
I know.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like I felt like I was being treated like I was a stranger, and I'm like, we lived together for like 16,
yeah,
17 years.
yeah. You birthed me? Like,
Yeah. Well, she's not my birth mom, so that's another thing. I'm like,
okay,
you're like
okay, okay,
adopted.
okay. Got
So
it, got it, got it.
yeah,
Didn't birth you then.
no, it's okay. Yeah, she's like, yeah, she's really like puny. She's like 4'11", so it'd just be so fun. I'm 6'2", so if she birthed me, she'd probably like die.
I was gonna say, you look tall when we were talking about if you were on testosterone.
I'm a beanstalk.
I'm a beanstalk. Lucky you though. Fucking most trans guys are really insecure about their height because we're all short kings.
I know, but
Good
I
for you.
love the short kings. Like you guys are like, I don't know why I said you guys. I don't even know how to tell you. I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you. But I just meant like.
No, I am a short king. It's okay.
Well, you get it. But like, I love like. There's the Short King anthem. I love that song. It's by like Black Bear.
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
good stuff.
um. Anyways, yeah. So fucked up that you saw your mom at the grocery store, and you know when you said she looked you up and
Hmm.
down, I feel like I felt that in my bones. Like I saw it in
Yeah,
my head. You know what I mean? It's like it's the trans look up and down.
yeah,
Like who are you? You
yeah.
know?
I'm like, I don't, like it was such an uncomfortable feeling because I would have rather her just ignore me completely versus like give me like
Yeah.
that, you know,
Hmm. Right.
awkward hello. Like,
Do you think she treated you like that because you said you were with your coworker, right?
yes.
You think she treated you that way because you were with somebody else? Like if you were alone, would she have treated you normally or no?
I I think she may have like it might have been a different conversation at least. Like I feel like it
Mhm.
would have been a different vibe completely. Because I have seen her out in public by myself, and it's been completely different.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's because she knows that or thinks that your coworker knows that you're trans and she's embarrassed about that?
Yeah. So I definitely think if she sees me with someone and they're just treating me like a normal human being, like she may have a hard time like understanding that because of her
Mm,
own views on the trans
right.
community. Um, she could have been shocked that I have support.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not
that's why
really
I'm
sure like
asking.
what's going through her mind with that, but that's definitely a good point. I feel like yeah, she definitely just doesn't think that I deserve that support because she doesn't think that the community um, is
Mm.
you know worthy of support.
Right. Yeah. No, it's fucked up, and I'm sorry to hear that. And I asked because my dad was kind of the same way with things. Like he, well, I guess maybe a little different. He like didn't support me
Hmm.
until he saw that he was the only one not supporting me. Like he
Right.
supported me just to fit in. He supported me kind of. That's the vibe that I got.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Not cool. Not cool at all.
No,
Um
so sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's okay. We're better than we were. Is
Yep. Hell yeah.
Do you think that well, it sounds like your parents kind of leaned more to the right side of politics and, homophobia, transphobia,
For sure.
racism, all things like that. I grew up kind of similar.
Mhm,
Like, my mom never like hated trans people or black people
mhm,
or gay people, nothing like that. But she definitely, and my father too, had some hardcore Republican views
mhm.
that
Same.
and I've talked about this a couple times in the past couple episodes, that were kind of fed to me when I was growing up, and I believed it, and I went fucking to middle school spewing that shit out of my mouth,
Yeah,
not understanding that it was fucked up.
right.
Um, did did you ever find that, you know, those ideologies and those opinions were being fed to you? I know.
Yes, 100%. And this was a time where like I didn't really have a mind of my own. I was so young and just being constantly told all of this homophobia, transphobia, racism, you start to believe it and you start to, go to school and you're, spewing all this hate. Yeah, my dad was extremely transphobic, homophobic, and racist. I remember a time where I came home and I was so excited to read one of my essays that I wrote in the third grade. Um, I was so proud of it. My teacher was, giving me so much hype. She's like, "This is like so good. You should like go home and read it to your parents." And so I read it to my dad, and like a few minutes in, he's just like screaming at me because I had a Martin Luther King quote in the essay. And I just remember being so confused because I didn't even know, you know, why I was getting in
Mm,
trouble. Like, because I was like, oh my God, I just wrote this really, good essay and
yeah,
you should be
yeah,
happy for me. I got 100 on
right.
it. Like, bro,
Mm.
like, what's going on?
Dead
Um,
ass.
so that was fed to me, my entire childhood. And it was just very
Jeez.
draining. Because I loved everyone, I loved
I
everyone, but
bet, yeah.
there was a point where I was a little bit homophobic because I just didn't understand, just constantly
Mhm.
hearing like, oh, it's unnatural. Um, you know, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, like whatever bullshit.
Right.
Start to believe that a little as a young little kid. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah, you idolize your parents, and like I remember, and I still do most days, but I remember thinking my mom was right about everything always. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for
Like
sure.
that's the person you go to, and your that's the person you go to for every question that you have when you're a
Hmm.
kid, and you don't realize until you're an adult yourself that your parents are just people, like they're human too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You think for so long that they like have some superpower or some shit, but they're
Yeah.
the same as everybody else, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought too. Like I just thought my parents could do no wrong. Like they were like
Mhm.
these superheroes and then you grow up and you're like, not really.
They're actually kind of questionable human beings, but
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Now, how did you, because obviously you're not homophobic, you're not racist, you're not transphobic. Now, how did you unlearn all of the things that your parents taught you?
Yeah, so I definitely want to give social media the credit because as soon as I started being on social media, I was exposed to, a lot of people that were sharing their stories about being in the LGBTQ plus community, and I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I loved watching like the coming out videos, back when a
Mhm,
lot of people were posting their
mhm,
stories. So I think just exposing myself to all of that and just really um, teaching myself that these are people too. We're all here to
mhm.
just try to you know live our best
Mhm.
lives, and it's like they're not affecting anyone. And then slowly, when I started questioning my sexuality, I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm part of this
Yeah.
community.
Mhm. 100%. That's why like representation in social media is so important
For
for
sure.
the trans and gay
Yeah.
community.
If it wasn't for social media, like I don't really know if I would have been a direct product of my parents, and that horrifies me. That like truly
Mm,
horrifies me, 100%.
mm. Yeah, no, I hear you. 'Cause social media is very much like a double-edged sword to begin with because, like, I don't wanna say that I wouldn't be trans if I didn't have social media, because that's
Of
not the
course.
case, but I wouldn't be so educated on it,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And, like, right-wing people would be like, "Well, that's
Right.
why
Yeah.
social media is bad."
Yeah.
It's like, what, educating myself is bad?
Right.
Learning about different identities and sexualities is bad? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly. Like, no, for sure. Like, I definitely would still be trans. I just probably would suppress it. Like,
Yeah.
life
Mhm.
that, I'm so miserable living. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just very grateful that I had access to social media at a young age. I like kind of sort of because like there's definitely stuff I shouldn't have seen.
Yeah,
But
right. Facts.
the aspect of just like educating myself, I'm very grateful for that.
Mhm. Yeah, period. It's important.
Hmm.
Now, do you feel like once you yourself got educated
Hmm.
on all things trans, all things gay, whatever, did you feel like you then had to educate your parents? Or no?
Yeah, so it was really tough. Like, yeah, I definitely felt like I had to open my mouth and be like, "Hey, why do you guys hate this community so much? Like, this is like
Right.
a great community to be in. Like, everyone's happy. Like, what the fuck? Like, everyone's
Mhm.
like waving their rainbow pride flags. Like, why do you hate us so much?" Um,
Right.
I honestly felt like I was just talking to a brick wall. Um, like, it
Mm.
was really tough. Um, my dad, like, it was just his way or the highway. Like, he didn't have the capability to like think outside the box. I fully believe
Mhm.
he's a narcissist. He just no, he just didn't have that in him to view my perspective and be like, oh well, this is my kid. Like, I should, you know, try to
Yeah.
at least understand. If he didn't fully understand but still respected me, I feel like I would still have him in my life, but because he just didn't have that capability or he didn't want to try to respect me, I just said, screw it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want that negativity in my life. Like, there's only so much you can do to like educate your parents, but at the end of the day, if they don't want to learn, then it is not your responsibility to teach them, because that should come naturally. If you're going to bring a
Yep.
kid into this world, or in my case, adopt a kid, um,
Mhm.
that's just something that should come natural, because
Yeah.
that's it.
I agree with you 100%. There is nothing in this world that should stop you from supporting and loving your child. I'm not saying they don't love you. I'm sure they love you very much. But support also comes with that. You know what
For
I
sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing on this freaking planet that should put that kind of wall between you and your child. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And out of everything, gender, you're going to let that, or sexual orientation, like,
Yeah, that's like
at the end of the day, it's such a small thing.
exactly, yeah. It is such a small thing, and like, I have so much more to like offer. Like, like,
Right. Yeah.
I'm a dude, but like, I'd also like to say that I have other qualities within
Mhm.
myself to offer this world, and you can't see that if you just think I'm disgusting, mentally ill. Okay, well, so be it. Because I got this whole life to
Mhm.
live, and
Period.
without you, I'm gonna
I
shine.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's what I always say.
Yeah,
Like, I've had guests that kind of their parents doesn't don't haven't or don't support them, and they kind of stick around and they kind of keep fighting and fighting and fighting to try to earn their support, and there's nothing wrong with that
right.
at all. I support that. But I also think at a certain point it's important to just let it go,
Yeah,
because family, to me, in my personal opinion, means absolutely nothing. Blood means shit if it doesn't come with support. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
Hmm.
you can call anybody your mom or your friend or your sister or your brother. Like,
Right. And that's something I had to learn very quickly, because I don't have any connections with like my blood family. Um,
mm.
I was in the foster care system. Oh my god, I can't speak. I was in the foster care system at a young age, so just
Oh shit.
being taken away from my biological siblings, it's just that's something I had to learn. Like just being so apart from that, and just like trying to find my chosen family along the way. It was
Yeah.
just a work in progress, and just like trying to
Mm.
discover like my identity was already tough because I'm just already like, who the fuck am I? Like,
Yeah, I bet, dude. Can I ask you how long you were in the foster care system for?
yeah, of course. I believe I was in the foster care system for about 3 years.
Okay. Okay. Until you were 3?
No,
Gotcha.
so up until I was 5, I spent the first like year and a half or so with my biological family.
Oh, wow. That must have been really hard. Do you, like, remember a lot of that?
Honestly, no, I don't, which I'm very grateful for.
That's good.
Because like
Yeah,
my
that's good.
siblings, on the other hand, they were a little bit older than me, so they do remember some stuff I can imagine. Um, I just remember like hearing stories, and I do remember like a couple different things that happened in foster care, but um, honestly, like my brain probably blocked out, you know, some crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure, yeah. Um, can I ask, and if you don't wanna talk about it, that's totally fine. But have you ever thought about reaching out to your biological family, or do you even know who they are or anything like that?
Yeah, so my entire life, like, I had different ideas of like what I was gonna do, and like for the longest time, like I was hearing stories about how they were abusive, and I don't want
Mm,
anything to do with like my adoptive family did a good job just like trying to make sure that I wouldn't one day go and see them, but I feel like they
mhm,
were hiding a lot, and
mm,
that was just kind of damaging for me. But I did actually reach out to my biological dad, um, or I tried to at least, because I got a text message from my biological sister who moved away to like Montana, and
mm,
she was telling me how my biological dad is in a coma, and I know she was saying like, I know he wasn't there for you, and you probably going through a lot now, but he's in a
mm,
coma. So if you want to like check up on him, like
mm,
go ahead. If not, like I just wanted to let you know. So I was like appreciative that she reached out to me. And I actually did go see him like in the hospital. Um,
mm,
and then I saw him like 2 hours before he like passed away. Um, so it was just like, I feel like it did have a lot to do with timing and how I chose to come out like directly after that. I literally
mm,
came out like not even a month as transgender, like after that happened, because I'm like, shit, like life is short. I didn't even get to
mhm.
like have a conversation with my dad as me. So
Oof.
I told him like before he passed, I was like, hey, like, guess what? Like, you have a son, like, not a daughter. Like, and
Mhm,
it was like kind of like, it was weird because like I knew he couldn't respond. So I was just
mhm,
like, at least he died knowing that like I was gonna
mhm.
transition and all that, and
Yeah,
maybe
that's
he
huge.
just needed that closure. And then yeah,
Yeah,
2 hours later, dead.
that's so
No,
sad.
that's what.
I'm sorry, that made me
I'm
laugh.
not good at like.
That's okay, man. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Of course, yeah,
I'm sorry, by the way, that sounds really, really hard, but I'm glad that you got to tell him who you are and who you wanna be before he passed. That's super important, and I bet they did give you some closure at the end of the day.
yeah, no, it for sure did, because I was like always thinking about him in the back of my head. I'm like, wow, I have a father out there that potentially isn't like abusive, like the one that is still alive, like my
Mhm,
adoptive dad. And I'm like, wow, I could have like had a relationship with him if I had reached out earlier. So I did have some sort of guilt, because I was like, maybe like it's my fault. Like he got really depressed, this and that, and stopped taking care of himself. But like at the end of the day, like I couldn't have changed that. I had to like come to
mhm,
terms with that. I couldn't have changed that. So
mm. Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you did tell him though when you had the chance, and I think that down the road, I mean, I'm no fucking therapist, I don't fucking know, but in my opinion, I think later down the road, that's gonna stick with you and that's gonna make things easier for you. You know what I mean? In your own transition later down the line, for
Definitely, and
sure.
I think it already did because like I'll think about it. I'm like, wow, I'm very happy that I decided to just go there and sit with him until like
Yeah.
3 in the morning and just talk to him. Because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to be like 10 years down the road and I'm like regretting something like really important in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, can I ask
Hmm.
your adoptive father, um, you don't speak to him at all? Like, you have never had the conversation that you're trans with him, like, ever?
No, the only thing that he knew about was me being gay. Well, at the time, I was like identifying as like a lesbian, um,
Mhm.
but it wasn't a good like. It wasn't like supportive at all. He thought
Mm.
like one day I was just gonna like, snap out of it. Um, he actually read my diary a while back, and that's how he started like realizing that I like women as well. Because I
Mm.
had said that I was bisexual. I just wrote it down, and then he actually approached me. He's like, "Are you bisexual?" And I'm like, "No." Like, who told you that? He's like, it literally says it right here, like in your diary. I was like, "That's not me."
The fuck you doing reading somebody else's diary,
But
bro?
he was very
God
invasive. He he followed me to a girl's house like one time. It was like really weird. Yeah. So I don't
damn.
associate with him at all because he's
Period.
fucking weird.
Mhm. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's how he reacted to you being gay, then he doesn't deserve to know who you are now.
No.
Like, fuck that.
He has a lot of like mental issues that he needs to like work through, and my entire life he um, turned to alcohol for everything. So
Mm.
I think that has a big part to do with it. Not saying that's an excuse because I know some wonderful, amazing like alcoholics, like people that have gone to rehab, and they're wonderful, amazing people. But he
Mhm.
never wanted to take that step, and he never wanted to get the help because he didn't think anything was wrong with him. Um,
Mm.
so it just manifested and got worse over time, and put me through one of the most abusive situations in May of 2022. So it resulted to me like having to move out immediately, and yeah, cops were involved, and it was really bad. So
Damn. I'm so sorry, man. You don't deserve that. Nobody fucking deserves that. That's makes me really upset and really angry to hear because I mean, damn, it's just about gender and
yeah,
like
bro,
sexuality. Like
like
Jesus Christ.
exactly, like I'm just a fucking fruit basket, bro. That's all. Damn.
No, dead ass. Now, can I ask, did religion play a role in any of this with either of your parents?
Yeah, so my parents claim to be religious, but it's just kind of funny to me because like they never step foot into the church. And I'm not saying you can't practice
Mm.
religion and also like not go to church. Like if you have a reason why, like I don't believe in the church really, but that's just me. They did believe in the church. They just decided like, like don't want to go, whatever. And then my mom would always just like recite random Bible verses, even though she never read the Bible. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You do you, boo.
Mm.
um,
That's like really using it as a weapon then.
yeah,
If you know nothing about it, but it's the only thing you have that says that being trans or being gay is wrong,
yeah,
that's just like you got nothing else under your belt.
exactly. Like, they actually did send me to like catechism, the church school, and I
Mm.
went up until I got my first communion. I remember reading like a reading in front of like hundreds of people, and I was so like anxious. I was like ready to shit my pants. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm reading. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, no, it was so bad. And then I just never went back. I don't know. My parents just like stopped bringing me. So,
Mhm.
I don't.
I relate to that. My family wasn't religious
Mm.
growing up. Like I made my communion. I didn't make my confirmation though, but I made my communion and like we were religious enough that I went to religion and made my communion, but like we didn't pray before every meal, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it was like
and
the
then
same thing. Hmm.
yeah, and then I came out as trans,
Hmm.
and one of the first things my mom said to me when we never really talked about God or religion to begin with,
Right.
one of the first things she said to me was, "God made you the way you were supposed to be." Like God made you this way for a reason. And I was like, what? When do we ever talk about God?
Right. Where did this come
The
from?
fuck? She doesn't feel that way now. I just want to be clear. My mother's great, my biggest
I'm
supporter.
sorry
But
that happened.
yeah, but at the time, I was like, what are we talking about here? God, the way I see it, like, I'm not a super religious person, but I do believe in something.
Yeah, no, I
And
get
if
you.
that, yeah, if that something is God, then God made me trans,
Mm-hmm,
if that makes sense. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
I totally get you with that because there's been times where I sat down with myself and I'm like, maybe God is real, but maybe it's not like this this man that's like has a
Yeah.
beard and he's just
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't think it's a stereotypical God that not everyone thinks is real, but like for
Mhm.
years
Right.
I've thought that
Yeah.
have been real, but like I think it's more of just like a spiritual thing. I believe in like energies and like the universe, more of that stuff versus like there's this man like making all these decisions and you know I
Mhm.
don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I did want to ask you a little bit of like, I know not with your dad,
Hmm.
because in my opinion, I don't think you should even try with that.
Lost cause.
Uh, but with your mom, do
Mhm.
you like ever see a future there? Like, where do you want that relationship to be? Do you want to work on it? Do you hope that she ends up being more supportive and more like reasonable with it, or do you just like fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing?
Yeah, so it's really hard. Like we had a really strong relationship. You know, when I was growing up in my parents' household. My dad was really abusive towards her and my sister, so I felt that responsibility to just be that outlet for her to talk and help her go through these really tough times. And she would always promise me like, I'm gonna get you out of this house with you and your sister, like everything's gonna be okay one day, I promise, this and that, I'm gonna work really hard. And that never really happened. She wasn't really like, she didn't really keep her word. So it was just like,
Yeah.
but it was just like a really tough environment. So I don't think it's really tough to answer this question just because there's a lot of different like you know
Right.
layers,
Yeah.
kind of like an onion. Like I need to stop talking. Um, but I do miss the relationship we had when I was a kid. She was there for me, like more emotionally than my dad ever was, and
Mhm.
she was the reason why like I was involved in like sports growing up. I had a life outside of the house, and you know
Yeah.
it was also tough because I have a sister with special needs, so she needed like most of the attention, and she knew like how that could affect me sometimes. So she would
Mhm.
just make sure that I was happy. Well, at least
Right.
tried to make me happy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I think as I started becoming the person that I was meant to be, she just couldn't handle that. And I think there was just a lot of past traumas she needed to work through. And now that she's back into my dad's life again, it's just really tough for me to like accept that. And I just
Mhm.
feel
Rightfully so.
kind of betrayed in a way, based on
Mhm.
like all the traumas that he put me through. So it just feels like kind of a stab in the back. But I also do have this respect for her because I know that I think it's resulted from trauma, and she doesn't want to accept it, and she doesn't want to work through it. So I think
Yeah.
if it came to a point where she was able to wake up and be like, "This is a really shitty person. Like, let me just like throw you in the trash." Like, then we could,
Yeah.
kind of rekindle things. But as far as where it's at right now, like I can't do it for my own sanity. I worked really hard to build myself up after getting out of that toxic environment, on top of
Mm.
another toxic environment, um, when I
Yeah.
moved in with my ex. So I just had a
Mm.
lot of shit happen within a short period of time, and then it was just a lot of just healing, and I'm really happy with how far I've gotten at this point.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, like, you don't deserve. anyone's like you deserve to put your own boundaries in place no matter the cost, if that makes sense. Like you got to put yourself first no matter if it's family or not. Like you
Yeah,
sound like you've been through fucking hell, my brother. And
a little bit.
you and you've come out the other side. And I'm like, dude, I've seen your Instagram. I've seen the pictures that you post. You are very, very secure and proud in who you are.
Mhm.
And you did that. You yourself did that. Nobody else did that for you. And that's huge. You know what I mean? Fuck
Yeah.
them. You don't need nobody else. You need
Yeah.
nobody but yourself at the end of the day. And I
Yeah.
think trans people know that.
Period.
Trans people know that more than anybody, that you
Yeah.
don't need your family. You don't it's great to have a support system, but you don't need one because we know who we are at the end of the day. It's fucking much harder if you don't have one for sure. But I
Exactly.
don't think it's needed.
I don't think it's necessary. It helps. Don't get me wrong, it does
Yeah.
help, but you're stronger than you think. Like,
Hmm.
you can go through like any situation and just come out the other side and be the happiest version of yourself. And I wish I could have told myself that when I was 12 years old. Um,
Hmm.
Suicidal and shit, like
I
thinking
feel you,
that the
man.
world's gonna end. But honestly, like I just feel like I was rebirthed, and
Period.
I'm starting to live my life the way that it was meant to be.
As you fucking should. I love to hear that. My next question for you is, obviously, that's a lot of trauma to go through as a kid, as a young adult. Do you think that trauma made it harder for you now to build relationships, friendships, etc.?
So the point that I'm at right now, like I don't think I struggle with making friends or being in a relationship. I have a boyfriend now, and he is
Slay.
wonderful, amazing, sweetest guy
Period.
I've ever met. So I
I
do
love
think
that.
that based on past traumas, like I do get in my head a little bit. I do have some like insecurities, but I'm currently going to therapy for that because I don't want that to like manifest into relationships. Um, I think at first when I was kicked out of my mom's a couple of times, so I think when that had happened, originally I was like really bad with forming relationships. I started like dating someone like right away. Like I think it was like the next day. Like I got kicked out of my mom's house. I started like dating this girl over the internet, and it was
Mm,
just really bad. I didn't realize like how abusive she was, because I hadn't even processed like what my mom and my dad had put me through, and then you're just seeking
right.
out like this emotional validation through a person over the internet.
Hmm.
It's a bad idea. I don't recommend it. But
Mm,
yeah, so with that situation, I definitely have worked through all those emotions. Like,
mm,
she was physically and emotionally abusive towards me. And I think she saw that I was a very vulnerable target because I had gone through all that trauma. So it was like, it was easy because, like,
right. Yeah.
I was freshly like 20 years old, and, it was really tough. I didn't really know what, a healthy relationship looked like. I just had my
Yeah.
parents to learn from, and they weren't really great teachers.
Yeah, and in some way, that's kind of all you knew, and that was your normal. And
Yeah,
you couldn't even think, because you were young. You couldn't even think far enough to understand that you deserved better. You know what I mean? Because that's what you were used to. That's fucked up.
so I think I was seeking out that emotional support through this person, and because it was like online, it was really hard to see like her true colors and stuff like that. But then we moved in. Like it was crazy. It was like 3 months in, we were already moved in together, and that's when stuff slowly started getting crazier and crazier.
Um, now, I see this question here. I like this question. I want to ask it.
Yeah, for sure.
Was it difficult processing, trying to come to terms with your sexuality or your gender growing up?
Yeah, 100%. Based on all the homophobic remarks I would hear, it was really difficult for me to just come to terms with the way that I was feeling, and I didn't really know who to go to. Um, I just felt lost and very isolated. Luckily I had my cousins really close in my life, and the cousin that I live with now, she actually identifies as a lesbian, and she has been super supportive. Her sister, also my cousin Brianna, um, they're like the most supportive people in my life. And I think just because she's much older than me, Carissa, so the fact that she was in a relationship with a woman, that was just extremely inspirational for me, because I had like a role model in my life, and this was back before social media, so I didn't even have like social media like go to be like, oh, like, what's gay, what's the feelings that I'm feeling. So just like seeing her and her extremely happy with her partner at the time just gave me some motivation, like, oh, like I can be happy. But at first, like before any of that, I thought there was something severely wrong with me. I was like, I can't be gay. Like, oh my God, I'm going to hell. Like, that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
but, just working through it and just like seeing other people in, gay relationships, I'm like, damn, I can do this too.
Hell yeah, you can, man.
Hmm.
I love that. It's super important.
Yeah,
Um, and we were saying that support like isn't a absolute necessity in order to be who you are, but those are the things that make it easier. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Like, especially since you didn't have a good support system from your immediate family,
Hmm.
like that's super important, and I'm glad to hear that. And I ask, these questions of did like the question I asked of like did the trauma your parents gave you make it harder for you to find other relationships in life? I ask that,
Hmm.
and I like to ask my guests questions like that
Yeah.
because I want it to be so apparent that the way you treat your kids affects them so hard in the long run. Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
it's just like nobody's gonna be the perfect parent, and I get that. Parents fuck up, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Like parents deserve to be forgiven.
Right.
They deserve a break.
Hmm.
But shit like this, like being abusive and not accepting your kid for their sexual identity or their gender is, to me, in my opinion, for if it goes on for a long time, and it's unforgivable in my opinion. I think,
Yeah.
if I'm being quite honest,
Yeah.
like
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, because this can manifest into like I was saying before, like relationships or friendships, and then it's like we have this responsibility to take care of our mental health because it's been so messed up for all this time. So that's why I'm in therapy now, because I feel like I need to be responsible. I don't want this to linger on for the rest of my life the way that I'm feeling. Like I have that responsibility to take care of myself now, and I want to be better. I want to feel better. So now I have to put in the work. But that's not a thing that everyone has access to. So that's only like I'm privileged enough to be able to go to therapy. Some people don't have the health insurance. They don't have the outlets. They're homeless or whatever. And that happens to a
mhm,
lot of the trans youth. They're homeless because their parents kicked them out. Um, Luckily, I was never kicked out because I was trans, but I have been kicked out 3 different times. So, like, I understand what it's like to be kicked out and how damaging that is to the soul. Um,
yeah, man.
but it's so depressing, and that's why I 100% agree that it's unforgivable, because you are putting permanent damage on all these kids that deserve so much love. But,
Mhm, mhm. I don't know how a human being could do that to a younger human being. Like kick. You gonna kick your kid out for being trans? Like your
yeah,
kid, the one you're supposed to house and put a roof over and feed,
exactly.
you're gonna do that?
Like,
Like
what?
that is absolutely fucking wild to
So
me.
concerning. I'm like,
Mhm.
why?
Mhm.
Like, what's the reason?
For gender, are we kidding? Are
Like,
we
yeah,
being
are we
real right now?
kidding?
Are we joking? That's a little dramatic. I don't know.
uh,
But looking back, is there anything you wish you had done differently when dealing with your parents' reaction to you being trans?
I will just say I wish that I moved out a lot sooner.
Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the way that I navigated the whole situation was perfect. Like, didn't reach out to my dad about it because I'm like, you don't even deserve to know. Like, you know.
Mhm.
And then with my
Period.
mom, you know, I feel like I couldn't have done anything differently at this point. Like I wasn't even living with either of them, and that was like one of the things. I couldn't safely come out to them when I lived with them. That wasn't a
Mm.
possibility for me. I was already being threatened when I was like 5 years old. Like, oh, if you end up gay or with a black person, you're gonna be disowned. So like that was in the back of my head
Jesus.
for years on end. So
Wow. You can't say that shit to a 5-year-old.
I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, okay, can I go like play, with my Legos? like,
Yeah, for real. Jesus
um,
Christ.
yeah. So
Well, I'm glad to hear that you don't have any regrets in the way that you handled it, because that's the worst
no
when you step
regrets.
away
Uh-uh.
when you no regrets when you step away from or you let go of a situation with like a situation like that, like a big controversial situation with your family or loved ones, and you have things that you feel like you need to apologize for or you regret, like that makes it harder to like move on and like grieve the relationship. It makes it so much fucking harder. And I don't know, I think you should be proud of yourself that
Thanks, man.
you you did everything you absolutely fucking could so you can walk away knowing it ain't your fucking fault whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man. I
That's
appreciate that.
yeah, of course. It's it's absolutely fucking gut wrenching to hear all these stories from my guests and times. Like it hurts bad sometimes to hear it, but I also like I think it's so important to talk about just in case there's a parent out there who
Mm.
clicks on one of my fucking stupid ass thumbnails by any chance and fucking learn something that like you can't do this to your kid. It's not right. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I do it. And that's why I think it's so important. And for the other trans people out there who feel so alone, feel like they're the only ones who aren't supported by their family. There are so many trans people out there. And like, I don't know. I just hope that like people feel less alone and like parents can learn and stop
Yeah,
being
of
such
course.
dipshits, you know what I mean?
No, you are definitely
I don't know.
such a huge difference in the trans community. I love watching your videos. It makes me sad too. So actually, my friends Sam and Elliot, they were both on your podcast, and I'm just watching the videos, and I'm like getting emotional, and I'm like, how do you sit here and you listen to all that? Like, how do you have to like reset after making one of these videos?
Dude, I don't I don't even know, man. Like
So
I
I don't
won't
think I'm supposed to ask you a question. I don't.
no, please. I absolutely love it. I because it is important. I mean, like I'm am afraid I am going to hit a point one day where like it may just be too much for
hmm
me to hear, but I don't know. I definitely enjoy it. I think I can stomach it easier maybe than most people
hmm
can because I crave like I crave community when it comes to transness. Like I
hmm
didn't have it for so long that like now I'm just
Yeah.
getting it in like huge amounts every
Yeah.
week,
Like, give it
and
to
like I
me.
love it. Yeah, I absolutely fucking love it, and like it's what I'm passionate about. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I am scared that one day that like maybe it'll be too much for me, but I don't think that it will be. You know, I think
Awesome.
not to sound cocky, but I can see like I don't think I'm changing the world or anything or like changing or helping the trans community in some big way,
No,
but
you
I
are.
do see I do see people commenting and being like, "Thank you for doing this," and that's why I
Yeah.
want to keep doing it because it's it feels good. Obviously, you know
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, I do have one last question for you though. Do you have any advice for any trans folks that are listening that are not supported by their family?
hmm Yeah, so like I was just saying earlier, like it's not crucial to have that family support. Um, don't be depressed. Well, I can't say don't be depressed. Like,
Don't be sad.
um, but don't feel like your life is over because you don't have that support from your family. Sometimes it does take time, and I know like my story isn't really a perfect example, but there are like families out there that are loving and supportive, but they don't know how to just yet. I would say give it a little bit of time if they're not being outright like disrespectful or abusive, but they just need some time to like get used to the pronouns, to the new name. Because you gotta think to yourself, like it is a big change. And of course, if you start your transition, like maybe you're in your mid-20s and they just spent your entire life just seeing you as like a different gender, like of course it can be a little like, learning experience. It's not like it's like this traumatic experience. It's just like a learning curve. So maybe just give it a little bit of time if they're not really getting the pronouns right away and the name right away. But if they're being outright disrespectful, you don't deserve that at all. Definitely like protect your peace. Give it time, and you gotta do what's best for you. Like, don't feel like you're being like selfish. Like, it's good to be selfish, honestly, like to just take care of your own peace. That's what I had to do for years. I wasn't able to focus on myself and be the happiest version of myself. I spent years depressed, just like wanting to like get out of this world. So it's like you just gotta do what's best for you, and it's gonna be a huge stepping stone. It's going to be depressing at first. So you may like lose relationships along the way, but don't let that scare you, because whoever is meant to be in your life is going to be in your life. Like, I have amazing friends. I have amazing cousins. I have an amazing sister. I have an amazing partner. You will find happiness along the way. Like, as you're being yourself, I feel like that attracts the loving people. Don't hold on to someone that's going to cause you harm and that's going to make you feel like you're trash, because you're not trash. Like, you are beautiful and you deserve love and all that shit. So yeah, that's my advice.
Absolute slay advice. I absolutely fucking love that. I agree. I think, the more you grow up, you realize that being selfish sometimes is actually healthy and it's actually the right move sometimes in specific situations.
Yep.
But hell yeah, put yourself first, but also be patient to a
Yeah.
point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love that. Vic, did you have a trans song of the week or no? It's okay if you don't.
Trans song of the week. So I couldn't think of one, so I was just gonna be like "Karma" by JoJo Siwa, because like it's such a
Period.
but I don't know. There's like a lot of like fruity songs that are like coming out right now. But like I don't know. I can't stop thinking about like the mainstream ones. Like "Born This Way" by Lady Gaga is a good one. I
Ooh.
also think like I was at the gym earlier. I was listening to "Can't Be Tamed" by Miley Cyrus, and it's such like
That's a good one.
my soul.
That's a
I was
fucking
like,
good one.
yeah, trans rights.
No, I love those kinds of songs where it's like poppy and like everybody fucking knows it, but
Yeah,
like to us, it's like
yeah, like.
there's a deeper meaning here. Born This Way by Lady Gaga, bro. I shake major ass every time that comes on. Can't lie.
Me too.
Major ass be
Yep.
shaking.
Yep. You have to. You have to.
You have
If not,
to.
that's homophobic. You can't just not
Right.
ask to "Born This Way"
Right.
during Pride Month. Like, that's
Criminal.
yeah.
Absolutely criminal. Oh yeah, fucking happy Pride Month, everybody. I record my episodes like I'm like 1 or 2 ahead. So like I think it is this the second episode that drops in June or is this the first? I don't fucking know, but happy Pride Month. I love you all so much and I'm so proud of you.
Happy Pride Month.
Period. Vic, where can people follow you?
So you can follow me anywhere: Instagram, TikTok. My Instagram is at VLG. So VLG. Period. Not like period. PE. No, like the dot, like the period. There's a zero after that, if that's not confusing. And my TikTok is I don't even know. I think it's Vic.Leo. Or no, I think it might be Vic underscore. I wrote it
Vic.Leo.
down. Like, yeah.
Vic.Leo11.
Yes, that's it.
There
So,
you go.
ADHD, so bad. So sorry. Follow me
That's okay.
though.
It will be Vic's handles will be on screen and in the description below for anybody who wants to give him a follow. Please do, because you're fucking dope and I absolutely love your story and I think you're a very strong individual and I very much appreciate you being on. Yeah, of course, man. And make sure you follow me at HRT Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. I post almost every single day. And make sure you turn on my post notifications, join my Discord, subscribe to my Patreon. There may be some bonus content from this episode on my Patreon. I put a lot of work in my fucking Patreon, so if y'all could just like subscribe already, that would be really fucking great. Yeah, and turn on my post notifications. I drop videos every Tuesdays and Fridays. If you haven't checked out After Dark, please go do so. I just dropped a really, really, really cool video about dating trans men from the perspective of cis women with my lovely girlfriend Kat, who also edits these podcasts. So everybody give my lovely girlfriend Kat a round of applause. Kat, give yourself a round of applause because I absolutely love you and I appreciate you. And with my two friends, Gabe and Tyler, and my other friend Caitlin, who's Gabe's girlfriend. It was a great episode. Please go watch it. I really, really enjoyed it. And go follow me on Twitch. Sorry, this is a long outro. I'm sorry, bro.
I love it.
I have been live streaming on YouTube and Twitch, but I'm just going to stream to Twitch from now on every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Go follow me on Twitch. Come hang out with me. I would appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it, y'all. Vic, thank you so much for being on today. This was a dope ass episode, and I'm
Thank
really
you
glad I got to hear from you and got to hear your story.
for having me.
Of course, my absolute pleasure. I love you all so much. I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Woo!